Video, I'm going to go over um, a little bit about transformations of functions and really just focus on the first objective for this lesson, looking at the vertical and horizontal shifts in this video. So in this first example, I'm going to first graph the parent function x squared, which is the parent quadratic function, and you hopefully have had plenty of experience graphing these quadratics. So we have the origin for one of our points. 1 squared is 1, 2 squared is 4, and so it looks like this parabola shape. Now you can see in this blue one that it is, hopefully, I know I don't do the best job here, but I tried my best to make this one in black look identical to the blue one, just in a different location. And so you can see based on what is going on where it says g of x, we have this x minus 2 inside the parentheses. So really what they're doing is doing x minus 2 squared. And whenever you're inside the parentheses, inside the absolute value function, inside a radical, when we get to the exponential functions later in the exponent, that's where we'll see our horizontal shift. So this right here is going to be a shift of 2 units to the right. And the tricky thing is first identifying that you're inside the parentheses. So that's our horizontal shift, or left to right. And then you have to think opposite. So even though it says minus 2, you need to think opposite. That's really a positive 2. And when we move positive 2 units horizontally, that means we're moving to the right. So that's why this blue one has been shifted. Everything has been shifted 2 units to the right. Okay? Now let's look at this h of x. All right, this h of x is to continue with what we just did with the blue one. So we still have the x minus 2 squared. All right, we still have the x minus 2 in the parentheses. But now we're adding on this plus 3. All right, so we still have the 2 units to the right. All right, that's the x minus 2, the thinking opposite in the parentheses. But this plus 3 on the outside, whenever you're outside or past whatever the function is in terms of when you're graphing different ones, that's where you're going to find your vertical shift, so the up and down shift. So this one you think more straightforward. You don't have to think opposite. That's only for inside. For this one, because it says positive, moving in a positive direction vertically is moving up. So this is going to be 3 units up. So all these points that are in blue are going to now move 3 units up. And again, even though it might look differently, I'm doing my best to try to keep it the same, because all 3 of these in black and blue and green are all exactly the same. They're just in different locations. They've been translated or shifted horizontally and or vertically. All right, so that's kind of the process. You'll get a lot of practice with this. Let's do another one. All right, let me show you one actually, and then we'll do another practice. So this one now we have the original. Oh, that's the wrong color. My bad. The original absolute value function here, or the parent function, is in blue. So that's there. All right. And then what they've done is they've first done a horizontal shift. So again, even though now it's no longer the quadratic function, we're still inside. In this case, we're inside the absolute value function, or the symbol. So we need to think opposite. So really I'm thinking about -1, and moving in a negative direction horizontally is 1 unit to the left. So you can see this dotted one, right, has been shifted 1 unit to the left. All right, now there's kind of 2 options here to look at: the green and then the blue, everything together. So all they've done is continued on from the dotted red one with this -3, and very similar to the way we did the first one, the quadratic, because it's outside or past the particular, what makes it that function. It's outside the absolute value symbol. So this is going to end up moving it 3 units down. All right, so you can see this green one here is kind of the culmination of everything, with both of those shifts happening. Or if you need to see this blue one at the end, you can see that as well. All right, so let's do another one. We'll do an absolute value one. So we're going to start with the parent function. I'll graph that. Let me do g of x for a second function. And they want us to do x minus 2 and then plus 4. So again, inside is going to be my horizontal shift. So this is going to give me how far I'm moving left and right, and outside is going to be the vertical shift. All right, so when I look at that -2, thinking opposite, that's really a +2, so that's 2 units to the right, and we've had that already in this video. And then the vertical shift at +4 is going to be 4 units up. All right, so I'm going to first plot the parent absolute value function, which is just going to be essentially 2 lines connected at the origin. And you'll notice both of these lines have a slope of 1 or -1. I guess I should say one of them has a positive slope of 1, the other has a slope of -1. All right, that's what creates that V. And then to move it, I'll use a different color. I'll use pink, orange. Let's use orange. It's my favorite color. So if I use orange, I'm moving this 2 units to the right and 4 units up. So 2 units to the right, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 units up. And it's actually going to have the same, right? We're not changing anything about the slope of each of these parts of the V. So that's, even though it might look like it is different because I stopped drawing it, I'm not going to draw it off the grid, so it looks like it's actually gotten smaller. It's not. It's just in a different location. All right, so that's kind of the process here for translating these functions. Key thing to remember is you got to think opposite when you're inside the parentheses. So it's one of those where I'm always focused on what's going on inside. So I'm thinking opposite of -2, which is really 2 units to the right. That's a +2, right? And then when you get to the outside, the vertical, right, you can just think straightforwardly, how is that going to happen in a vertical movement? And positive vertically is up. All right, so use that to help you, even when the functions are not the quadratic function, not the absolute value function. You're going to do some practice on exponential functions, radical functions, and you'll get a chance to see how all of these different translations interact with different functions. Good luck.